David Muir, ABC's World News Tonight, America's most watched newscast. Now streaming same day with all the breaking news of the day on Disney+. Most watched, most trusted. Now on Disney+ every night.
Tonight, breaking news in New York City. A former U.S. soldier sets fire at the federal building. Dramatic video tonight showing the suspect pouring gasoline outside the entrance of 26 Federal Plaza, igniting it.
Oh my God!
The suspect taken down. Tonight, what the FBI is now saying, what they're learning about the suspect. Aaron Katersky on the scene. Also breaking as we come on the air tonight, bracing for severe storms and tornadoes now in the Midwest. Then it comes into the Northeast tomorrow. Heavy rain, damaging winds, New York City to Philadelphia. And the tropical threat we're watching closing in on the Gulf tonight. Ginger Z is here. Tonight, the images just in, a harrowing police shootout. What they encountered, an officer then firing through the windshield of a patrol vehicle. An officer among those hit. Tonight, the U.S. war in Iran, the American soldiers killed. The Pentagon tonight identifying 2 of those soldiers after an Iranian airstrike on a U.S. base. And tonight, amid all of this, oil prices up, gas hitting $4 again in the U.S. Back here in the U.S. tonight, 2 controversial brothers known across social media, Andrew and Tristan Tate, in court after being arrested on rape and sex trafficking charges. What their attorney is saying tonight. The terrifying break-in at the home of NFL star Saquon Barkley, he and his young family, his young children inside the home. Tonight, the violent intestinal illness now spreading. More than 1,000 new cases in one state alone, now more than 30 states involved. And the major farm they're looking at tonight, selling lettuce to many grocery stores and restaurants. President Trump's new Air Force One to be grounded. What's happening with the $400 million gift from Qatar? Tonight, the plane aborting its landing. You could see the sparks shooting from the tail after hitting the runway, that plane pulling back up. Tonight, the small plane crashing on top of a home. You'll see it. The 130-foot boat crashing into a dock at Fort Lauderdale, what someone accidentally did. Tonight, thousands watched them on that Nest Cam, the beloved bald eagles Jackie and Shadow. What's just happened to Jackie? In New York City tonight, the 3rd death now from Legionnaires' disease, and where? And the new report tonight on coffee, what they're now saying.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening. We begin tonight here with the breaking news, the alarming scene at the federal building here in New York City. Authorities tonight accusing a former U.S. soldier of setting fire outside the federal building in Lower Manhattan. Dramatic video tonight showing the suspect pouring gasoline on the steps to the building and igniting it, creating a huge wall of flames at 26 Federal Plaza. ICE, the FBI, and other federal agencies, all with officers inside. The suspect, taken down moments later, wrestled to the ground there. The FBI tonight calling it an anti-government attack. And tonight, what authorities say he was also armed with. Our chief investigative correspondent, Aaron Katersky, leading us off from the scene tonight.
This is the moment a former U.S. soldier tries to set fire to the federal building in New York.
Guys, oh my God!
Flames and smoke crawling up the facade in Lower Manhattan this morning as immigration hearings were set to begin. The FBI calling it an anti-government attack. Watch as the suspect, identified as 43-year-old Andrew Arabaca, splashes gasoline onto an outdoor stairwell, ignites it with fireworks, and runs off.
Oh my God!
Mr. Arabaca came armed with bad intentions. He had 2 axes, a hammer, a machete, and 3 knives, fixed blade knives, 6 incendiary devices or fireworks, and he had some other destructive items.
Arabaca, immediately grabbed by federal police, wrestled to the ground and taken into custody. The FBI says they located anti-ICE literature along with 2 pellet guns from which the suspect fired several shots.
He is an anti-American, anti-government extremist. He did say he was targeting the building and he was okay if he hurt or killed people going in and out of the building, whether they were federal employees or civilians.
26 Federal Plaza houses immigration court, where masked ICE agents have been making arrests. It has been a focal point of protests over the president's immigration crackdown. 3 people were hurt here today, David, including an immigrant awaiting a naturalization hearing. The suspect is expected to face federal charges. David?
Aaron Katersky leading us off here tonight. Aaron, thank you. We're also tracking severe storms and possible tornadoes set to hit in the Midwest tonight and then coming to the Northeast tomorrow. More than 100 million bracing for these damaging storms and potential tornadoes moving through the Midwest at this hour and then the Northeast next. Heavy rain, damaging winds expected in New York City and Philadelphia. Millions along the I-95 corridor tonight bracing yet again after major storms over the weekend that flooded parts of New York City. Tonight, we're also watching the tropical threat closing in on the Gulf right now. Ginger Z with the forecast and Alex Perez from Chicago tonight.
Tonight, powerful storms threatening more than 100 million from the Midwest to the Northeast. After a wild 48 hours of extreme weather. In New York City Saturday, flooding chaos. Subway stairs turned into cascading waterfalls. In Queens, this fire truck powering through the deep water, another car bobbing. These stranded drivers seen inching along a ledge. Soho streets underwater.
Oh my God!
Cars in Brooklyn navigating roads that turned to rivers. Nearly 4,000 flights canceled, mostly in the Northeast, nearly 20,000 delayed. Outside Columbus, Ohio, 5 people died after going into the Scioto River to try to help someone struggling to swim. And overnight, a flash flood emergency in southern Utah after monsoon rains over the burn scars from the Cottonwood fire flooded canyons and sent rivers over their banks fast. Debris, including an armchair from someone's home, seen washing downstream. First responders ordering families within a quarter mile to evacuate for a time.
And David, there are multiple tornado watches already up across parts of the Midwest. Here in Chicago, we are bracing for powerful thunderstorms tonight as this system heads to the Northeast. David?
Setting it up for us tonight, Alex Perez, thank you. Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Ginger Z starting off another week with us. Hi, Ginger.
Hi, David. We've already seen an absorbed tornado in Iowa with that ugly looking line making it through the watch there. But up to Marquette, Michigan in the Upper Peninsula, Green Bay involved in that tornado watch till 11. That same line goes through Chicago, West Michigan tonight, and then progresses to the east. Level 3 out of 5 from Cincinnati to Philadelphia to Newark. There will be rounds of this. It'll be scattered, but some of that severe and the flash flood threat. Don't let that escape you tomorrow evening, especially here around the tri-state with all that water coming down. Go to the Gulf, and we're watching that depression skirt across New Orleans by Wednesday night into early Thursday. Most of the rain going to stay displaced over the waters of the Gulf, but you could see 2 to 4 feet of surge. David.
Ginger Z with us here tonight. We'll see you first thing in the morning on GMA. Thanks, Ginger. Tonight, the image is just in here. A harrowing shootout involving SWAT officers in San Antonio. What they encountered as they arrived on the scene, an officer among those hit. Here's our Chief Justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas, now.
Truck right here. That's right there, Nissan. Tonight, heart-pounding moments in San Antonio, showing how the routine can quickly turn violent. Newly released body camera footage showing SWAT officers pulling into an apartment complex last month to execute an arrest warrant on a suspect who was inside his vehicle. San Antonio police claim those officers saw the man had a gun and that he opened fire. Hold! They say all 4 SWAT officers returned fire, including this one shooting through his windshield. One officer grazed in the upper thigh. Police say the suspect was struck in the hand and shoulder, both transported to the local hospital. And this is the gun police say they recovered at the scene. That man, 35-year-old suspect Roman Pena, was charged with 4 counts of aggravated assault against a police officer. The shooting remains under investigation, David.
Pierre Thomas in Washington. Pierre, thank you. Tonight, the U.S. war in Iran, the American soldiers killed, the Pentagon now identifying 2 of the soldiers, Private Isabella Gonzalez of Texas and First Lieutenant Tyler James Feehan of Hawaii. What President Trump is now saying, and tonight amid all of this, oil prices up, gas hitting $4 again in the U.S. Martha Raddatz in the region for us, reporting from Jordan tonight.
This is the moment Iranian missiles struck a U.S. base here in Jordan, killing multiple soldiers. Video circulating online showing massive explosions. One missile striking a housing container unit, according to sources, although it is unclear whether that is where the fatalities occurred. Tonight, U.S. Central Command identifying 2 of the soldiers killed, the youngest, 19-year-old Private Isabella Gonzalez of Texas, and 25-year-old First Lieutenant Tyler Feehan of Hawaii. Officials say human remains found are likely those of a third missing service member, still unidentified. And in Iraq, where Iran has unleashed a relentless missile and drone assault, the U.S. says an additional U.S. service member was killed during the controlled detonation of a downed Iranian attack drone. President Trump vowing retaliation, warning Iran will pay many times over for every American soldier killed. And tonight, the U.S. launching new attacks on Iranian military targets for the 10th straight day. And David, tonight, an Iran-backed group is now threatening to block passage of Saudi ships through the Red Sea, with traffic in the critical Strait of Hormuz already way down. All of this sending oil prices higher and gas prices in the U.S. now topping $4 per gallon. David?
Martha Raddatz live at Jordan for us tonight. Martha, thank you. Back here in the U.S., 2 controversial brothers known across social media, Andrew and Tristan Tate, in court in Miami, arrested on rape and sex trafficking charges in the U.K. Tonight, they're now fighting extradition. Here's Victor Oquendo.
Controversial influencers Andrew and Tristan Tate behind bars in Miami, facing possible extradition to the UK. U.S. Marshals arresting the brothers in Miami Saturday after British authorities announced dozens of new charges against them, including rape, trafficking, and offenses related to indecent images of a child. Their lawyer denying all charges today outside federal court.
We are, of course, objecting to extradition because Andrew and Tristan are innocent.
In 2024, ABC News spoke with a British woman who also accused Tate during the same period.
We were having sex and he strangled me until I passed out. And then when I came back around, he was still having sex with me while I'd been passed out.
That woman currently part of a separate civil case against Tate. The brothers deny hers and all other women's allegations. The brothers, vocal supporters of President Trump and his sons. They've cultivated a massive social media following by promoting misogynistic views. The new charges come as the brothers have faced criminal investigations in the U.S. and Romania, where they were arrested back in 2022.
David, their next hearing is set 1 week from today, but it will likely take weeks for a judge to decide if they meet conditions for extradition. David?
Victor Oquendo in Miami. Victor, thank you. Now to the terrifying break-in at the home of NFL star Saquon Barkley. He and his family, his young children, inside the home. Here's Ike Kajachi.
Tonight, the intense search for at least 2 suspects who police say broke into the home of NFL superstar Saquon Barkley while he, his fiancée, and their 2 young kids were inside. Tredyffin Township Police say in the early hours Saturday, the suspects who they believe drove this white SUV into this quiet Malvern neighborhood made it inside the home of the Philadelphia Eagles running back.
I would ask anyone if you have any information from over the weekend between 4:30 a.m. to about 5:15. If you saw anything strange, please contact the Tredyffin Township Police Department.
While it doesn't appear anything was taken, officers say by the time they responded around 5 a.m., the alleged suspects were already gone.
It's still surprising that people would even take advantage of a person that is so valued in our community.
And David, Barkley now joins a growing list of high-profile athletes targeted by criminals. With the new season just weeks away, the NFL has urged players to not post in real time, install or upgrade security systems, and to keep their valuables out of sight. David?
Ike Kajachi with us tonight. Ike, thanks. Tonight, that violent intestinal illness now spreading across the country, more than 1,000 new cases in one state alone. And the major farm they're now looking at, selling lettuce to many grocery stores and restaurants, too. Here's Elizabeth Schulze for us.
Tonight, a voluntary lettuce recall expanding to 27 states as cases of that parasitic illness surge. More than 1,000 new infections in Michigan since Friday. Taylor Farms is now pulling nearly 3 dozen products, including shredded iceberg and lettuce blends sold to grocery stores and restaurants.
The recommendations right now are to use whole heads of lettuce as opposed to using bagged lettuce or pre-washed lettuce, removing the outer leaves and thoroughly washing the inner leaves in warm water.
The FDA has linked the cyclosporiasis outbreak to Taylor Farms lettuce sourced from a farm in Mexico. More than 1,600 people got sick after eating the lettuce at Taco Bell in at least 5 states. Taco Bell says it's removed all affected lettuce. Walmart has also pulled its market-side brand iceberg lettuce off shelves. Jack in the Box removing lettuce in Texas, Oklahoma, and Louisiana. And food suppliers Sysco and U.S. Foods halting their deliveries too.
David, it can take 2 weeks for symptoms to appear, so health officials do expect more cases. David.
Elizabeth Schulze with us tonight. Elizabeth, thank you. Overseas tonight, yet another changing of the guard in the UK. Labour Party leader Andy Burnham, now the new British Prime Minister tonight, taking over for Keir Starmer, who stepped down under pressure. He's now the 7th Prime Minister in just 10 years. Tonight, President Trump's new Air Force One to be grounded. So what's happening with the $400 million gift from Qatar? Here's Mary Bruce.
4 weeks after President Trump unveiled the new Air Force One with great fanfare, tonight the White House announcing the plane is heading back to the shop for additional upgrades and enhancements. Sources tell us the plane, a $400 million gift from Qatar, will soon be out of commission due to security concerns, even though the Pentagon already spent hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars to give it an upgrade.
They made it appropriate for a president. That means the security and all of the different bells and whistles they put on. Very complex stuff.
Trump flew the jet to the NATO summit in Turkey, but it left without him. At the time, the president claimed he sent it on ahead to show it off to American troops. And David, one more piece of news from here. The president late today announcing new 50% tariffs on many Canadian goods, including clothing, dairy, and alcohol. Trump angry after Canada put tariffs on American products like cars and alcohol. David.
All right, Mary Bruce with us tonight. Mary, thank you. When we come back here, the plane aborting its landing as its tail hits the runway. You can see the sparks shooting from the plane as it scrapes the runway, that plane then pulling back up. Plus tonight, this plane crashing on top of a home where this played out. The 130-foot boat crashing into a dock in Fort Lauderdale that someone accidentally did. And the new report on coffee tonight, what they're now saying, how many cups are safe? We'll be right back. Tonight, a cargo plane aborting, landing, its tail hitting the runway near Cincinnati. Sparks flying as the plane's tail drags along the runway there. The pilots then pulling back up, going back around and landing safely just moments later. Tonight near Houston, a small plane landing on top of a home. Take a look. Authorities say the pilot was trying to land at a private airstrip nearby. The pilot survived, suffering minor injuries. In New York City tonight, a third person has died from Legionnaires' disease. Health officials reporting the latest death is connected to the cluster of cases on Manhattan's Upper East Side. At least 74 cases now, 8 people remain in the hospital. When we come back tonight, the new report on coffee and how many cups a day are safe. And thousands watch them on those Nest cams. Beloved bald eagles Jackie and Shadow. And what's just happened to Jackie tonight? To the index of other news tonight, a boat crashing into a dock in Fort Lauderdale. The 130-foot boat being towed, drifting off course and slamming into the dock. The tow company tonight saying someone on the yacht accidentally hit the throttle. No one was hurt. Tonight, a new study here revealing how much coffee is safe to drink each day. The American Heart Association is now reporting for most healthy adults, 3 to 5 8-ounce cups of black coffee is generally considered safe. That's 400 milligrams of caffeine. But researchers also urging moderation, saying high doses of caffeine, especially from energy drinks, have been linked to higher blood pressure and abnormal heart rhythms. In California tonight, those beloved eagles, Shadow and Jackie and Big Bear, park officials sharing video tonight of an injured eagle lumbering through the water right there. Nature watchers believe this is Jackie. She's been missing from the nest she shares with Shadow. The rescued eagle, believed by many to be Jackie, now getting medical care tonight. We wish her well. When we come back here on the broadcast, the World Cup victory, but the image tonight that has now surfaced 19 years after it was taken of 2 of those World Cup stars. Finally tonight here, the World Cup win and that 19-year-old star who plays for Spain. It turns out when he was just 6 months old, he was in the arms of another star. Tonight, the images seen around the world after Spain's World Cup victory right here outside New York. The hug, a passing of the torch between 2 soccer stars, Spain's 19-year-old Lamine Yamal and Argentina's 39-year-old Lionel Messi, after what many believe will be Messi's final World Cup. But it's not the first time that Messi and that 19-year-old star have been captured in an image together. These photos from nearly 20 years ago show Yamal as a 6-month-old baby in a tub and being held by Messi, 20 years old at the time, all for a charity photo shoot in Barcelona. Yamal's father sharing them online, writing, "The beginning of 2 legends." Now that little baby, a teenage star for Spain, and after the World Cup, it was his 3-year-old half-brother, Kane, who was the star after, racing onto the pitch, so proud of his big brother, the hug, the fist bump. Look at this, even borrowing a New Jersey police officer's cap, stealing the show, stealing hearts after his big brother's big win. It was an incredible World Cup all the way around, bringing the world together. And who knew 19 years ago in the arms of Messi? I'll see you tomorrow night. Good night.
David Muir, the most trusted, most watched newscast in America. And now, World News Tonight has won the Emmy for Best Live News Program for the 4th year in a row.